Okay, I recently played in a Magic the Gathering tournament on MTG Arena. I'm just going to start this video now. I'm going to try to replay these games, and it will be at 2 times speed. Yes, so this is the first match. It's standard best of 3. I'm playing a rogues deck against mono white in the first match here. Generally, I would probably show the deck lists. But like as the first thing in the video. But you'll be seeing the deck list during the sideboarding anyway. And I can't remember if I could have counted the Skyclave apparition. I don't think I cared really. I didn't want to play the Thought Thief. I'm not sure. I think this player might be kind of less experienced than the other players. Given that they did just attack into the I guess that's surprising with the Thought Thief, so that was pretty good for me. I think I just let them have the maul here and just use the drown on the creature. I also don't think I even used the drown here and just let them hit me for 4 or whatever. And just so I can play a Thought Thief. These off-1 mines are a little bit awkward. Also, I was stuck on lands this game. But still managed to just, yeah, the off-1 mines in hand should cost 1, but I'm drawing all humans. If I could get Lurus out, that would reduce the cost of them. But even here, I was feeling pretty safe. They didn't have a Selfless Savior on the board. So the Drown guaranteed to just be able to kill anything. And that'll just turn off Heliod as well. Get me a 1/1, which actually... yeah, I was thinking I probably should have thought about that. Yeah, if I had have just used the Drown on my turn, I could have then played the of 1 mines for cheaper because of the illusion creature that you get for killing the apparition there. But the game was pretty much just over at this point. It would have been better had I made that play, but not really necessary to win the game. I think I was waiting there just to see if they would try to equip them more. I think they were a mana short of doing that. I think they had a couple of Heliod's in hand. They showed me after the game what their hand was. And they'd drawn 3 Heliod this game. So yeah, that was game 1 of the match. And sideboarding. I generally I have been playing best of 1, probably a lot more than best of 3s, but now that I'm maybe going to start playing some more tournaments, I have been practicing best of 3. So I decided to play rogues, probably because I was just more familiar. Because I have been playing some rogues in best of 1. And I just found a deck online, but I couldn't resist changing it a little bit. So I put these Hive of the Eye Tyrant instead of Castle Lochwain. I don't really know which one is more useful. It's it's probably the Castle Locked Wayne, but I guess I just like to make the deck my own. The good thing about the Hive is that if you're milling cards into their graveyard that you don't want them to have in their grave, you can just exile them with that. But that doesn't, I very, very, very rarely get to attack with that land. But yeah, if you do have your opponent down to just like a pretty low life total, it's helpful there as well. I find that I tend to not run out of things to do with this deck, even though I think I'm playing less Into the Story. There's supposed to be 4 Into the Story in the main deck, but I don't really just think you need it, especially with Lurrus as the companion. I very rarely run out of things to do. Okay, yeah, here's another. The opponent should not be attacking with the Selfless Savior here. It's just a pretty bad attack. It just dies for pretty much no reason. And those Selfless Saviors could be a problem, because they can stop Heartless Act from killing something. And they just throw away another Selfless Savior here, which is also probably not going to go well for them. And yeah, this game kind of already over at this point. Generally, Maul can be problematic for this, for a Rogue's deck. But given that I can just remove all of their creatures, it doesn't really matter. And I could have just got aggressive here and just killed their only blocker and started attacking, but I just wanted to mill them, I guess. I thought that would just be a safer, easier way of winning the game. So yeah, I just attack with Wind Robbers. Yeah. And this board state, I think what you probably should do is just Heartless Act the apparition. I would even get another creature from that. But I just don't even think it was really that necessary. So yeah, even more ways to remove their only relevant creature. But I figured I can just win by milling the opponent. So I didn't really need to do that. And yeah, the rest of this game, probably not very exciting. You can see where it's going. I just keep on, here I'm using the Heartless Axe before their combat, so that they still work, I guess, and so that they don't get counters on their creatures. But yeah, for the next few turns, it's just going to be me attacking with these Wind Robbers. I don't know. I probably should have just dealt with the apparition and attacked with everything. Probably would have been a quicker way to win, but they were down to 6 cards in their library, so if I just draw any creature, really, I can just mill them. Even that didn't say please just then. That'll put them down to 0. So yeah, that was the first match, and I guess I'll just go to the next one now. Okay, so this is the second match now after winning the first match 2-0. Started pretty well in this tournament. This hand could get out of control pretty quickly. Being able to play 2 Thieves' Guild Enforcers and a Wind Robber by turn 2. I think the opponent's playing a Winota deck, which I hate. But I think it shouldn't be a difficult matchup for rogues if you can just counter Winota or kill it. I think the problem, Selfless Savior is a problem. Another problem is the Chariot can be difficult to deal with this deck. I think I just sent everything here. I didn't want them to have the Savior, but I have enough counter spells, I think, that I shouldn't need to rely on removal spells. And it looks like they were missing lands here, but just any land, and they have a fair amount of mana with the Sentinel and the Lotus Cobra. I think here I'm just deciding, do I want to play the Triome or do I want to play the Island? I think I'm going to need to play the Triome anyway because I'll want to have double black. But it's just a question of whether I want to be able to play Mystical Dispute. Because they're not playing blue, so Dispute's always going to cost 3. Yeah, the opponent mana screwed in game 1 there. In saying that, they did still play like 5 creatures out, even with only 2 lands. So yeah, sideboarding and Crippling Fear, that seems like a pretty good card in this matchup. If I can just kill everything, even if they get Winota, they shouldn't be able to trigger it if all their creatures are dead. I was thinking Soul Shatter to maybe remove Winota. And yeah, it looked like, I didn't really know what to do with the sideboard other than adding Crippling Fear sounds good. I think I took out Into the Story. I think I do that basically every time, which makes me wonder why I'm main decking them. But yeah, I guess you're supposed to main deck for Into the Story. But pretty much every time I sideboard, especially against an aggressive deck, it just seems too slow. So I pretty much always just take Into the Story out. Ruin Crabs are still decent, given that they can block. But yeah, here's the Chariot, which is pretty hard to deal with this deck. I do have all these Heartless Acts, so I think my plan was just to use Heartless Act on the Chariot. But that can even not be that great, because maybe they'll just play another one after that. Make another 2 cats while they're at it. So I think I'll wait for them to just animate the Chariot and then kill it before they can attack with it. with a Heartless Act here, because otherwise I'm just extremely far behind. Okay, I guess yeah, they get to make another cat, but I get to kill one anyway. And I get the Thought Thief on the board, so yeah, I think I really just want to draw Crippling Fear. I got an island because I do have these of one mind in my hand. And yeah, I draw Crippling Fear. This land, I want to play on black for the Crippling Fear. But it would be nice if I could play it on blue so that I could play of one mind and still... I suppose I can still play of one mind and Heartless Act here, so that's what I should do. If I realize. I think I do realize it. Because I don't really... Okay. Well, that was a mistake. I should have played of one mind. Because drown, I don't think there's anything I would need to drown that I couldn't just use Heartless Act on. So I just didn't draw 2 cards then for no reason. So there's a mistake there. I'm not sure why I'm letting them attack with the Chariot again. Probably should have just used Heartless Act on it. And yeah, I named Human there. Because I played a game before against that card, the Jaspera Sentinel, and that is actually a rogue. So if I had a named rogue, they would have still had their Sentinel, but they didn't have any. Luckily, they didn't have any humans on the board, which I'm sure there were plenty of humans in their deck. So that was that was interesting. So I can play Lurrus here and maybe get some things out of the grave. Okay, there's just a Ruin Crab in there at the moment. Not the most exciting. And I think I don't drown this because I have Agadeem's Awakening in my hand. I think I don't. Okay, I use drown. Okay. And then I play the Agadeem's as a land. That's weird. I probably should have just let that go, let Lurrus die. Maybe. I don't know. So yeah, pretty awkward having all of this black mana and not having enough blue in this situation. Also, I'm down to 6 life, so it wasn't looking great at this point. And yeah, I'm debating, do I even play the island here? Because next turn I can play the second Ruin Crab and then have a land to play afterwards. So yeah, probably maybe didn't play this game the best. And when they were playing Ox here, I didn't really care because that's 3 less cards that I have to mill. And at this point, I think I was planning on just trying to mill them. Yeah, and unfortunately, Heartless Act, when they have counters on their chariot now, isn't great, but I do have this Thieves Good Enforcer that I can just throw in front of it and then play it again with the Lurus. So yeah, not really sure what the opponent was drawing here, but I guess it wasn't really useful for them. Not sure how many cards the opponent has left. 5, okay. So they're pretty close to just be running out of cards here, and then they escape another Ox, discard their hand, and go down to 2 cards left, which I wasn't worried about. But yeah, Heartless Act here, pretty bad. Can't really kill any of their creatures with it. I could just use the Soul Shatter, but it's not really that important, I don't think. And yeah, they don't have any cards left. So that was that game. That match, I guess. So I'll go to the next one. Okay, here's the third round. Had to take a mulligan there. Because I didn't have both colours. So far, I won the first 2 matches 2-0. So it was going well. But I guess it's kind of all downhill from there. I'm playing against, I think, Gruul here. Green-red deck. I make a ton of mistakes, I think. I should have just used Heartless Act on this Magda instead of going for the Thought Thief block here. Because the fact that they had a Rimrock Knight, it did not work out at all for me. I suppose they could have also had a Bonecrusher Giant, and that wouldn't have been great either. So yeah, I think that was definitely a mistake, something I'll need to keep in mind. I also didn't want to lose the Thought Thief because I do have of 1 Mind in hand. And I didn't want to pay 3 for it. So yeah, it's not wasn't a great start to this match, especially because of that decision I made. Of course, if they had nothing, yes, it's better to play the Thought Thief and block their creature. But yeah, the chances of them having nothing there, basically 0. So I can play into the story, which is probably what I do here. I mean, don't know what else I would do. But I still think I'm just too far behind at this point. The Chariot is a difficult card to deal with this deck. I could kill it with Drown in the Lock. Yeah, at this point I was just trying to mill them, I think. I was like, yeah, maybe I can still win this if they run out of cards. Still don't have a human though, so still getting punished for losing the Thought Thief at the start of the game. I suppose from here it looks like maybe I could have a chance. I think I used Drown here, but I actually don't think I killed the Chariot, which is probably another mistake. Okay, I did kill the Chariot. So I can block some of their creatures here. But pretty soon I'm going to start dying, I think. And lands, drawing 2 lands in a row, not the most helpful. So yeah, I have to pay 3 for an of 1 mine, which I didn't really want to do. Could have played the tap land there because I'm not going to use the mana, but it's better just to save it for cycling, I think, because I have enough lands. So yeah, at this point I was thinking Crippling Fear would definitely be helpful in this situation. So I might as well use the Heartless Act then. The other option would have been playing a Thought Thief to block one of the 2/2s. But I'm down to 1 here. And I can't mill them. I don't think so, yeah. I think they just had too many cards in there left in their deck at this point. And I had to lose one of the crabs, I think. Otherwise I would have just been dead anyway. So yeah, taking out Into the Story, even though it was kind of helpful that game, I still just ended up drawing too many lands though. I just think it's probably too slow for this matchup. Crippling Fear should be a good card. I'm wondering if I should be taking the crabs out when I put Crippling Fear in. Because then I only really have rogues in the deck. I made a mistake there. I was supposed to play the Fabled Passage. Yeah, that might be a problematic thing there, because it means that I can't play the Into the Story. I mean, the Didn't Say Please on this turn, which I would have been able to if I fetched an island with the Fabled Passage before. But from here, my plan was just to try to get them with a Crippling Fear. I am 1 land away from that though, so yeah, I don't think I really draw the land in time. I could counter this Embercleave, but I think what I do is just let them have it and just Heartless Act whatever they put it on. There's another Rimrock Knight, which is kind of annoying, but the crab wasn't, I guess it wasn't super important at this point. Thought about just drawing with the Wind Robber, so because maybe I'll draw a blue source and then I'll still be able to use Drown. I didn't really care if they played more creatures because I have Crippling Fear. I was kind of hoping they would play more creatures, but I also just need to draw a land as well. It's a bit bit unfortunate drawing the Heartless Act after they've already put a counter on their creature. And there's the land that I need for the Crippling Fear. Unfortunately, it means, yeah, it's not blue, so I can't. Doesn't allow me to play the Didn't Say Please, but yeah. I probably did make a lot of bad decisions in this match, but yeah, yeah. Now I realize what happens here. I should just drown their Magda here, but yeah. So, yeah. I made some questionable decisions. I was thinking I would just Crippling Fear to kill the Magda, but of course they it has 4 toughness now. So yeah, that was pretty bad play on my part. Now I'm just like, yeah, this game's over. I was half expecting them to put the counter on the Sentinel, but I still could have just drowned the Magda. But this is why I wasn't using the drown, because I wanted to save it for a Goldspan Dragon. If I had 2 blue sources, I wouldn't have needed to. Wouldn't have felt the need to save the drown. But anyway, that was that. That was that match. Okay, so match 4 now. At this point, I guess I was 2-1. You don't really need to play the Ruin Crab on turn 1. I knew they were going to play a Thieves Guild Enforcer, but yeah, being able to block that with the Ruin Crab is not really important. It's just stops 1 damage anyway. So yeah, this is playing against Rogues this time. Which was pretty interesting. These were probably the best games of the whole tournament for me anyway. So I could have played the Agadeem's Awakening in order to play the Thieves Guild Enforcer. But yeah, I made the right decision because I left up Mystical Dispute. And yeah, that was ended up being a pretty good decision, being able to counter their Thought Thief. Pretty stuck on black mana at this point, and I have 3 black cards in hand. I think I play the Thought Thief here. If they had a counter spell, I could have just used the Mystical Dispute. Or if they have a blue spell, I can still use the Mystical Dispute like that. They only have 1 card in hand. Is it a Mystical Dispute? No, it's another Thought Thief. So from this position, it's not. I thought it was actually going pretty well. The fact that I counted two of their thought thieves. They just had a third. Is the only problem. And I think this first game was probably maybe the best of the games in this match. Deciding just to trade there. I can't really afford to keep taking 4 damage every turn. I could have played the Thieves Gonna Force her to block. But then yeah, I don't know. Technically I win this race if I'm dealing 3 and they're dealing 2. So I'm saving Drown or Mystical Dispute for their Lurus. Yeah, so I just used the Drown on Thought Thief because Mystical Dispute can still counter Lurus. But yeah, we both drew 4 lands here somehow. They go for the Lurus. Lucky they didn't have a backup dispute. And yeah, I made some questionable decisions in this match, I think. From this point I was trying to mill them. I think that was my strategy from this point. Because then they can't mill me first, I guess was my reasoning. So they're not going to have a counter for Lurus because they don't have any mana. And there's a lot of options in the graveyard here. But given that I drew a Fabled Passage, that's why I decided to play a Ruin Grab here. Which I don't think it actually worked out for me. But it did mean that I could also play a Wind Robber. Yeah, this game, the way that it ended, I wasn't thrilled about. I could even Heartless Act one of their Ruin Crabs here, if I am worried about them milling me. So activating the Hive here, yeah, I wasn't too worried about them having to use their Drown on my land. The problem is that I'm kind of stuck on lands anyway, so it wasn't great for me losing that land. But they, that's a Drown that they're not going to use on my end in the story. So I think if I did just go for damage before, by not playing a Ruin Crab out of the grave, that probably would have worked out better for me. Pretty sure I'm going to play the Triumph as a land to mill the opponent. I might even just Heartless Act one of these Ruin Crabs, maybe. Maybe not. I felt like I should win from this position, but don't think it went that way. So I think they maybe have a counterspell here. Yep. Again, I wasn't too worried about that. I think the opponent was pretty low on cards in their deck at this point. They had 6 cards. And yeah, this I was trying to draw a land then. So I drew 5 cards and didn't get a land. Because if I did get a land, they would just pretty much be dead. And there I made a mistake. If I had have played the Thieves Guild Enforcer in response to them playing that spell, they would have just been dead. Because they had 5 cards. Yeah, they were at 6, but they drew a card for the turn, and then yeah. Yeah, that was a mistake by me. I could have I really should have checked their library size when they cast into the story. Because if I had just played the Thieves Guild Enforcer, they would have only had 3 cards left in their deck. And then drawn 4. And that would have won me the game. But I didn't realize that at the time. I mean, I realized it just afterwards when I saw that they only had 1 card left. And yeah, then they ended up milling me because they also drew a Thieves Guild Enforcer as well as a land. So yeah, I felt pretty unlucky the way that went. But at the same time, I could have just won if I actually thought about it. So yeah, I guess that was maybe the longest game of the whole tournament. So the opponent has a dead weight now. I think they put it in from their sideboard. And I don't have one of those in my sideboard. But I think it's actually pretty good for this matchup. If you can get your Lurrus onto the board, and then you can just play it from the graveyard. So I could potentially counter this Thieves Guild Enforcer, but I don't think I do. I wasn't really close to having 8 cards in the grave. I think I had 0 when they played that. I was feeling pretty safe here, having Mystical Dispute and Drown in the Loch. Could buy Lurrus, but I don't think I do. It's a lot safer not to. If nothing happens, I can just cycle the Triome. Which I think is what I do here. It does tap me out, which means I can't play Drown in the Loch, but I didn't really care. I can just save Drown in the Loch for something else. So yeah, these Skyclave Shades, it's another card I think the opponent put in from their sideboard, and that card was like a pretty big problem for me in this matchup. I should have targeted Deadweight here, I think, with this Cling to Dust. I don't know why. Yeah, I just didn't realize it at the time. But yeah, Deadweight was definitely what I should have targeted with the Cling there. I wasn't thinking about the opponent resolving Lurrus. But if they do have a counter spell, I can't stop them from resolving it. Because yeah, just I try to drown here, but I'm pretty sure the opponent has a counter spell. They have Test, which is the best counter spell I think they could have in that situation. Lucky they didn't have a land there, otherwise they could have just killed my Lurrus. So I think I just try to mill them a bunch here, even if I can't actually kill them this turn. Getting a second Thieves Good Enforcer and then playing a couple of Thought Thieves is a lot of cards in their graveyard. And they had to block two of my... No, they just had to block the Thieves Good Enforcer. So yeah. But they do go down to 2, so I was feeling pretty comfortable here. As long as they don't have... whatever that -3/-3 to all creatures is. Which I didn't sideboard in because we're both playing rogues. So yeah, they had a lot of removal spells there, but not enough to survive that. So yeah, I put the second Cling to Dust in because I figured that's a pretty important card to have. Oh yeah, the Crippling Fear I still didn't end up putting in the deck, and I don't think it's really that good in this matchup, but maybe it's alright. Because there could be a situation where you just don't even have any creatures on the board and you get to just wipe their board. So yeah, this this match did go for quite a while. But there's only one match after this one, I think. But yeah, it's a shame I didn't win the first game of this match. I was very close to doing that, but because it wasn't looking too bad for me at this point, having 2 Thought Thieves on the board. Think I just cycled a Triome. No. I didn't want to risk it, I guess. I might buy a Lurus here. I think that's probably correct. So yeah, I drew Cling to Dust in this game, but I probably didn't make the best use of it. I'll let them resolve Thought Thieves because I wanted to just use Heartless Act on them. I'm just wondering if I should do it now or on their turn. And I don't really think I cared if they countered the Heartless Act, so if they want to counter a Heartless Act and not counter a Lurus, I guess I was happy. Oh yeah, also I just needed the Drown for their Lurus, but yeah, the fact that they had Mystical Dispute, I still can Heartless Act their Lurus though. Yeah, I don't think it was looking too bad at this point. That, yeah, the dead weight. Yeah, that was really good for them. But it could have just as easily been a Heartless Act or some other removal spell. But yeah, it also means that now I exile the dead weight, cling the dead weight, but they'd already lost their Lurus at this point, so I don't even think that was correct. Because there's another card that I should have really been worried about in their grave. But I don't think they even had any at that point. The Skyclave Shade is what I probably should have been using the Cling to Dust on. I think I wanted the blue mana, which is why I played the Triome then. And I didn't think I was going to run out of cards. I do have Cling to draw me cards. And the Wind Robber. But yeah, I don't know where these Skyclave Shades came from, but I did not notice any of them getting put into the opponent's graveyard. And that's pretty much just how I lose this game. Even here, I cling their Cling instead of instead of just doing it on a Skyclave Shade, I think. Oh, I don't think they had... I guess I should have been milling them first before casting Cling. And yeah, I milled a second Cling, but yeah. I probably should have been targeting the Shades instead of their Cling to Dust. I just didn't want them to have one. If they didn't have a land to play, then they can't play the Skyclave Shades out of the graveyard, which is probably what I was thinking about. But I think I just lose this game because they have too many of them. And yeah, they did have a land. And another one in the hand as well. So yeah, I think it turned around pretty quickly. If I had have been able to exile them from that graveyard, that would gain me 3 life. And it would exile them. But at this point, I think I'm just dead and there's nothing I can draw or do. The one way I could win is by milling the opponent, but that's not going to happen. I could cling here to gain 3, but I'm still just dead anyway, I think. So yeah, that was that very, very long match. Okay, so this is match 5. I forgot to start the recording at the beginning of it because, yeah, it took a long time to get into the match, which was kind of annoying, and I wasn't really in the right kind of headspace or anything. But I still wanted to win the game. I forgot to start the recording at the start of it. But anyway, if they don't have any creatures, even if they do have a Winota, then it doesn't really do anything. I think here I might just cast Into the Story, even though I can cast Lurrus. Wasn't really scared of just a single Blade Historian. Don't know why I decided not to play Lurrus then. So they had a Winota, but it's not going to get triggered by the Blade Historian because it's a human. I could always just throw away creatures and then get them back with Lurrus anyway. And I think the plan here is just mill the opponent until they're dead. Or kill them with damage, either way. Don't think there's a lot that they could do here. suppose they could animate that land, maybe get a trigger off that, but I don't think. Yeah, I didn't think I could possibly lose the game from here. And I should be able to just attack back for the win here. So yeah, that was the first game. Sideboarding and Crippling Fear again. And taking out the end of the story because I just think it's too slow. It's probably pretty helpful in that game though. And yeah, now I remember what happens at the end of this. At the end of this next game, but we'll see that when it happens. I think these portable holes are a problem when you're playing rogues. There's not really anything you can do against artifacts that just exile your creatures, or is it? I think it's an enchantment. Either way. I don't think the opponent had many cards in their graveyard, so Drown in the Lock not going to do much here, unfortunately. And yeah, the creature that they have at the moment, yeah, I think I probably just made a ton of mistakes in this game. But this creature was pretty annoying. Somehow I knew that they were going to have a Skyclave apparition for the Lurrus. Wasn't thrilled about it, but what I wanted to do was if they attack, use Drown on the Skyclave apparition, but they had a Selfless Savior on the board, so they could just make the apparition indestructible. Which is why I didn't bother doing that. But yeah, it's really bad when I can't block this creature. But the opponent here, I guess it kind of worked out for me because they target Drown in the Lock, which I was going to play anyway, and I had 4 mana. So they pretty much wasted the Spellbinder. I was expecting them to use the Selfless Savior then, but they didn't. And I know why they didn't, because they just had a removal spell for the 3/3. I wanted to draw a blue mana source, and I didn't. If I did, I could have played the Wind Robber, and then they would have been at 7, and Heartless Act would have put them to 8 cards in their grave. But I didn't draw a blue source. So yeah, this Heartless Act still not really going to do what I want it to when they have a Selfless Savior on the board. I was half expecting them to use the Savior on their Spellbinder. That would have been good. Because then I could just use the Heartless Act on the 3/3. So finally now they use the Savior, and I have a second Heartless Act to kill there. I think, yeah, the auto tapper got me there. Yeah, I had the I had enough mana to play both Wind Robbers, but the auto tapper tapped blue mana to use the Heartless Act for some reason. So yeah, that was very annoying. And here my plan was to use Drown in the Lock to kill one of their creatures. Because then they only deal 5 damage. Yeah, also I had the land that I could animate. So that was the plan. So I animate the land, I block the 2/2, and then I kill the Spellbinder with the Drown in the Lock. And that was the plan. But that's not exactly what happened because I accidentally clicked counter a spell with the Drown in the Lock when I meant to. Yeah, I meant to kill their Spellbinder there. Because then I wouldn't have been dead. But yeah, they put the Bone Crusher on the stack, and then I accidentally clicked the left part of the Drown in the Lock, which counters a spell instead of killing a creature. And I feel like I could have won the game even from that position. But yeah, even though I would have been at 1 health. But yeah, I lost the game to a misclick. Also, that auto tap was pretty annoying as well. So yeah, mistakes were made. I might have been a little bit tired at this point. But anyway, this is the last game of the tournament out of the 5 rounds. It was looking pretty good at the start here. So yeah, I'm not messing around with that War Singer anymore. It's going to kill it straight away with a Heartless Act. Even though Crippling Fear potentially could kill it, there's no guarantee that I'm going to draw another black land anyway. And there's the island that I wanted. Right on time. So yeah, even just having 2 colors in the deck still can be a problem trying to get the right colors. I ended up playing the pathway on blue early because I think I needed a blue source for something. And then I just draw 2 islands, I think. But yeah, now I have all black spells and only 1 black land. It was nice of them to play the Kenrith then, since I can just kill it with a Heartless Act. But I think I just lose this game to the Phoenix that they have in their graveyard. They can just keep bringing it back with haste and, yeah, triggering Winota every turn. I suppose they also had the land that they could animate. I did have Crippling Fear, so I can wipe out all the creatures that aren't Winota. But yeah, the fact that they can do this every turn is not really good for me. Especially since I'm pretty low on health already. So yeah, I'm not technically dead yet, but I'm pretty much just dead. It would be nice if I did have another black source, because the turn before I could have played that Thieves Guild Enforcer out, and that could have killed Winota, but yeah. Anyway, that was it for that tournament. Yeah, they could have just boosted the Phoenix of Ash, even without hitting anything with Winota to kill me there. So yeah, I ended up 2-3 in the tournament. If I had played better, I probably maybe could have got to 4-1. But yeah, I wasn't expecting to win all 5 rounds anyway. But I will probably be playing. Yeah, this isn't the best screen to leave this on, but I will probably play another tournament this weekend. So yeah, maybe I'll do a video on that. So yeah, anyway, it's pretty late. So, and this video was way too long, way too long. Maybe I should watch the games at like 3 times speed. But anyway, that'll be it for this Magic tournament video. So thanks for watching. Bye.